It used to be a common belief that bettas could live in a small bowl without any heater or filter and be completely fine. And while there are rare circumstances where a betta doesn't need a heater or filter, the chances are extremely slim and it will take a lot more work on your part. So do betta fish need a filter? The main purpose of a filter is to keep the tank clean. Without a filter, you'll notice over time your betta's water becomes cloudy. But it's not what you see that's dangerous, it's what you don't see. Millions of harmful bacteria will begin to reproduce rapidly in your tank, and the stress of the dirty water will weaken your betta's immune system, making him more susceptible to catching a disease. In nature, it's very hard to find fish that live for large amounts of time in water that has never been naturally filtered. This is because filtration is a part of the delicate balance that helps everything grow and thrive. So to answer the question, bettas need a filter. If you keep your betta in a tank without a filter, then bacteria and ammonia are likely to spike out of control, weakening your betta's immune system, stressing him out, and even causing death. Frequent water changes aren't enough to replace the benefits a filter has in a tank. So while you may have heard that bettas can survive in dirty water as it's similar to rice paddies and ponds that make up their natural habitat, this isn't true. In fact, it's incredibly dangerous advice. Why do bettas need a filter? Filters are there to keep your tank clean from any debris such as decaying matter, feces, rotten food, chemicals, and harmful bacteria. As you can see, there are a lot of harmful substances in your tank that need to be removed for the sake of your betta. Your filter removes these dangerous substances by sucking in water and passing it through a variety of different media and sponges. Once the water has passed through everything, it will be clean and safe for your betta. Even though water changes are still necessary with a filter, you won't have to do them as often, which is definitely a nice bonus. Reasons to use a filter in your betta tank. Here are all the reasons a filtered tank is so essential for keeping your betta healthy and happy. Remember, without them, your betta is likely to suffer a reduced lifespan. Removing ammonia, nitrites, and nitrates. The most important reason you're going to need a filter in your betta tank is to stop a buildup of ammonia, nitrites, and nitrates. When any of these build up too much in your tank, it's going to spell bad news for your betta. Ammonia especially will stress out your betta and weaken his immune system. In fact, if left too long, ammonia will kill your betta. The good news is that sponges in your filter will harbor helpful bacteria which feed on ammonia, nitrites, and nitrates, and as long as there are enough helpful bacteria, the levels of all three will remain safe. While the bacteria can also be found in your tank, it's still going to grow in abundance in your filter. Moves water around. Water that isn't being moved around will quickly become stagnant. When water is left to stand for too long, carbon dioxide from the air begins to be absorbed. This carbon dioxide is not only bad for your betta, but it's also going to affect the pH in your tank. While this can be overcome with an air stone, it's still a lot more practical just to use a filter instead. Oxygenates your tank. Water not being stagnant isn't the only benefit you're going to get from using a filter. The movement is also going to oxygenate your tank. This isn't as important to bettas who have a labyrinth organ, but it is important to any other fish you have in your tank as well as the plants. You won't have to perform water changes as often. Just like previously mentioned, if you have a filter in your tank, you aren't going to have to perform water changes as often. The main reason you need to change your water is that it helps to remove any harmful bacteria and chemicals, as well as diluting any that are already in your tank. Because a filter also does this, it means you won't have to change the water as often. However, it is still necessary to change it. Without frequent water changes, none of the vital minerals and nutrients that your betta needs will be replenished. Without any water changes, your betta will suffer over time. All of these are great reasons for you to make sure you have a filter for your betta. What happens to your tank without an aquarium filter? Without an aquarium filter, your betta will be able to survive for a time. And if you do frequent water changes, then you can extend this time even more. However, you can expect your betta's life to be cut drastically if you choose to not have a filter in your tank. First of all, without a filter, the water is never going to be as clean, and the constant water changes you'd need to keep the water as clean as possible would stress your betta out. Not to mention that it would also create massive amounts of instability in your tank. Without a culture of good bacteria being able to grow in your tank, the water parameters in your tank would be impossible to control. As well as this, the water in your tank won't be oxygenated, and it will quickly become stale. This is also going to cause your betta to become sick and may make your house smell a little unpleasant. And of course, any harmful chemicals will just stay in your tank. Over time they will become more and more diluted as you perform more water changes, but they're going to be dangerous the whole time they're in your tank. What to look for in a filter for your betta? All of these filters can be a great addition for your betta tank. But when choosing a filter, here are some things that you should look for. Biological, chemical, and mechanical filtration. If your filter doesn't have all three types of filtration, then it is more likely that your betta is going to become sick. While biological and mechanical filtration are a must, you never know what chemicals could be in your betta's water, so it's always safer to have chemical filtration as well, just in case. Slow water flow. If the current caused by your filter is too powerful, it's going to push your betta around. Bettas like slow flowing water, and if the water current is too strong, they're going to get stressed out. make sure you purchase a filter that has a slow current, or even better, an adjustable current. Easily cleaned and maintained, you want to have a filter which you can clean easily. As well as this, you should also have one with easily removable filter media. If you're spending a lot of time trying to remove filter media, then you're going to stress your Betta out. You should try to find a filter where you can remove and replace the media with minimal effort. Reliable, and of course, you're going to want a filter that is reliable. Without a reliable filter, then you're putting your Betta's health at risk. It's worth paying a little extra for a filter you know is going to get the job done and last a long time.